Hey you guys, my name is Diane Parham, and today I am going to show you how to create a calorie deficit and how to figure out your numbers for optimum weight loss. So I am an online wellness coach, and I help women figure out food, fitness, and lifestyle to create the best body and the best feeling they want for their life. So today we're going to start with figuring out your numbers. So you can basically Google how to create a calorie deficit or what your basically your calorie intake or calorie output should be for a day, and there's a calculation out there that you can do, and it kind of spits some numbers out for you. And in a perfect world, or if us women were all created equally, that number would work for you and help you achieve your goals. But we're not all created equally, and we all have our own lifestyles that are different, and we all have our own body systems that are different. So what I like to do is refer back to my numbers as frequently as possible, especially when I'm noticing a plateau in my weight loss, or I'm noticing that I'm not getting the desired results that I want through my fitness and my nutrition plan. So this week, I had about 4 or 5 women reach out to me and say exactly that they've been plateauing in their fitness journey, and they're doing the same things that they've always done with their food, and they've been doing the same things that they've always been doing with their fitness, but they're not losing any more weight. So anytime I have a woman reach out to me and say that to me, the first thing I ask them is, do you know your numbers? Do you know what your calorie output is for the day? And do you know what your calorie intake is for the day? And most women don't really know those numbers. So I'm going to help you out today. I'm going to teach you how to do that. So you'll need a couple tools for this. You'll definitely need a calculator because there is a little bit of math we need to do. And then I highly recommend getting some sort of heart rate monitor. I use my Fitbit HR, and I use it to sort of track my caloric burn in 24-hour increments. And I'm going to show you where that comes into play when we do our calculation. So it's a basic math calculation, and then what we do is we build in some variables that meet your needs or your specific lifestyle. So you'll want to know your current weight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I calculate out my caloric deficit and figure out my numbers for myself. So I'm a pretty solid woman. I weigh about, I go between about 155 and 160. 155 is when everything in my life is perfect. My fitness and my nutrition are all dialed in, and I'm at what I consider to be my ideal place. 160 is when I'm kind of loosening the reins a little bit, and I'm giving myself some flexibility with maybe taking a few more days off with my exercise, or I'm bringing in a little bit more nutrition that maybe is not on my nutrition plan. And I do give myself a plus or minus 5 pounds so that I don't end up going crazy trying to always live a perfect life. So I always shoot for the 160 weight because that's where my make or break weight is. So I take 160, which is my average weight, and then I'm going to multiply that by 11. So I've got my 160 there, if you can see that, and I'm going to multiply that by 11. And this is just a standard calculation. You can Google it, and you can pretty much find it anywhere. So I'm going to get out my calculator, and I'm going to figure out 160 times 11, and that gives me 1760. Now 1760 is what is considered my caloric baseline. So if I didn't do any kind of exercise or anything, that's basically the calories that I would intake and what my average burn rate is to stay at 160. So I wouldn't gain or lose if everything was perfect and I was bringing in 1760 calories. So I want to take that caloric baseline, which is the 160 or your current weight, times 11, and I'm going to add in my average calorie burn. Now there's fitness programs out there that say what you're supposed to burn when you're doing a workout program, and what I found for myself is that I'm not always in that number range. So if I were to do a 30-minute at-home strength training program, what I found is that I burn on average about 100 calories. The plan, as it's outlined, wants you to add in a 400 calorie burn. So I'm already going to be over 300 calories. So this is where my Fitbit comes in handy. I get an average daily calorie burn from my Fitbit HR. I do the first day as a rest day, so a day that I'm not exercising at all, and I wear my Fitbit for a 24-hour period minus the time that I'm in the shower, so I even wear it when I'm sleeping. And then the second day that I track my calorie burn is on a strength training day, and I limit that to a 30-minute strength training workout. And then I take the third day, which is a 30-minute cardio. So those are the two types of exercise that I generally participate in, and then I always build in a rest day. So my rest day burn, my 30-minute strength training burn, and then I have a 30-minute cardio burn. I take those three numbers, I add them together, and then divide it by 3. And that's what I consider my exercise burn on average. And then I build that into my plan. So I take my calorie baseline, which is the 1760. So I take the 1760 and I'm going to add back in that average. And so for this exercise purposes, I'm going to say I burn on average 500 calories during that 3-day period. So I take the 1760 and I'm going to add in the 500 calories. I get 2260. So 2260 is the number that is the caloric need, or what I need to bring in calorie-wise to get through my day, as well as cover the exercise or the calorie expenditure that I have, or the burn that I have through the exercise. So that's what I'm going to need to sustain life, basically, with the exercise put in at 160 pounds. But let's say I want to drop some weight and I want to get down to about 150 pounds. So that would be a 10-pound weight loss. To create a 1-pound weight loss per week, I need to create a situation in my body where I am in a 3,500 calorie deficit for a 7-day period, or a 500 calorie deficit per day. So that's where that 500 calories is going to come in as the average also for what you burn in your calorie burn. So then I take my caloric needs number, which is the 2260, and I'm going to subtract what I want my calorie deficit to be. So if I want to burn 1 pound per week, that's going to be a 500 calorie deficit that I want to create. If I want to burn more than 1 calorie a week, then I would put in a bigger number. So let's say 750. So I'm going to put in 750 in here, and we'll see what kind of number we come up with. So 2260 minus 750, which would be more than 1 pound per week. It's probably about a pound and a half. And we'll see what number we come up with. So we got 2260 minus 750, and that would put me at 1,510 calories. So that means in order for me to lose a pound and a half per week with an average calorie burn through exercise of 500 calories per day, I would need to eat 1,510 calories. Now, the trick here is making sure that you do actually monitor the calorie burn that you have through exercise. Because if you are not burning that 500 calories that you built in, then you're going to be over your calorie intake and you won't get that weight loss that you're looking for. So it's all just a numbers game. And what I advise the women that I'm working with is we take it on a 7-day trial period. So I would run these numbers with this exercise plan built in for 7 days, and then I would weigh myself. Because if I did in fact create that accurate calorie deficit, then I should be in that loss mode by day 7. Now, there's a little side note here. Not everyone's body loses weight at the same rate. And just because we picked a certain day to step on the scale, it doesn't mean that our body is going to necessarily let it go on that day that we step on the scale. So I always suggest that you give yourself a 24 or 48 hour time period to reweigh to make sure everything's working. Now, if you are not seeing a weight loss after you've ran these numbers, then I always say go back to the numbers and recalculate them. Make sure that your heart rate is actually, your heart rate monitor is actually giving you a good reading. Make sure that you are consistently burning the right amount of calories through your exercise program. And then make sure that those 24-hour periods when you're monitoring your average, that you're actually consistently burning those calories in a 24-hour period. Now I know that was a lot of numbers that I just gave you, and it can seem a little bit crazy because it should just be diet and exercise, and now we're putting a big old math equation in there. So I have created a PDF that if you want to drop your email address below in the comment section, or you can message me privately, I will get this PDF off to you. It explains everything that you need to know about the calculations, how to get your 3-day average, how to create that deficit through exercise, and then how to figure out if a 500 or 750 calorie deficit is what you're looking for to reach your weight loss needs. If you would like to work with me personally and have me help you design a specific plan to help you create a calorie deficit for your needs, definitely feel free to private message me or send me an email, and I will schedule a time that we can get together and crunch some numbers for you to make sure that you reach your goals. You guys, thanks for joining me. Have a great day.